was wild, oh, made me weak. Radio blaring infectious beats. Gimme this life so sweet.
Hey guys, I'm Mel, and I'm a complete bikepacking beginner on a huge trip here in South America. Together with my friend Louise, we took on the challenge to cycle across this continent. And now, after 160 days of highs and lows, of sun and rain, and more adventures that we can count, this dream had become our reality. Good that there was quite a bit of adventure left for us here in Ecuador before reaching our final destination, Colombia. We just entered Ecuador, kind of illegally. We have been told we are supposed to look for the Christ statue, and then one street further, and then we shall find the migration office at the right. I don't know where we are. Manche Leute suchen ein ganzes Leben nach hier. Oh Gott, wir haben ihn gefunden. Wir haben ihn. Ecuador was the 5th country for us here in South America, and we were back in our bikepacking routine. Cycle, eat, sleep, repeat. My fascination for bikepacking had grown a lot in the last few months. Back home, I had studied a master's degree in tourism and traveled to quite a lot of places over the years. But moving through a foreign country had never felt so deep and so authentic to me as with a bicycle. Still, there's only so much you can learn about a country when you're mainly passing by, which is why I wanted to connect more with indigenous communities here in the Andes of Ecuador. We got in touch with the Cañari people, who welcomed us into their home for a few days, an experience that, in a cultural sense, became the most enriching part of our journey. The Cañari are one of Ecuador's oldest indigenous cultures, and to this day, they preserve many of their ancestral traditions and manage to keep a strong cultural identity despite centuries of change. They took us to see their land and share traditional meals on the mountain with us. Alongside Spanish, they speak Quechua, or a version of it, which is an indigenous language here. And we noticed they really like to wear white hats. We visited the neighbors, and I was so impressed by how well everyone could handcraft things. And in addition to some very exotic fruits, there are also other things that are considered delicacies here. Guinea pigs are a highly prized traditional delicacy here in the Andean highlands, and the Cañari people often eat it at festivities. We also learned about their fabric production and happened to be there when a mom wrapped her newborn to put on her back. And that's literally how all kids are being carried here. And finally, to the amusement of everyone else, they tried to teach us how to dance. I think I've never seen Louise this uncomfortable. So it was good that we were back on our bikes the next day. We followed no particular route, just decided day by day where the road would take us. We cycled through this incredible national park, Sangay, that none of us had ever heard before, and we were blown away by how beautiful it was. Maybe that's what makes bikepacking so special, passing by all these places you'd never put on a classic travel itinerary. And the sooner we knew, we found ourselves in the outskirts of the Amazon rainforest.
I'm not really sure if we're making our things dirtier or cleaner. Was für eine gute Straße.
We didn't really know where we were going. We hadn't met another cyclist in a long time, and somehow things on our map didn't all make sense anymore. People we've met in the villages had talked about certain cable cars that existed instead of bridges in this area, but we had no idea what would expect us.
Okay, so we're on a tiny gravel road towards where supposedly the bridge is. Okay, let's see. Okay, this looks like a station. Ach du Scheiße. Der hat Flipflops an.
Two hearts racing, chasing the chills.
What only seemed like a bit of an off-road stretch here actually ended up being a big river, and we couldn't believe our eyes when we saw another one of these sketchy gondolas coming our way. For some people, these so-called tarabitas are actually their normal commute to work. And for us, the unsafest roller coaster experience we've ever had.
Two hearts racing, chasing the chills.
Bueno, gracias.
Under streetlights felt so right.
We decided to stay here for the night, watching the sun set over the Amazon rainforest. And the only thing that tainted the moment was the thick layers of sweat and sunscreen coating our skin. We hadn't showered in 5 days, though I'm not sure if anyone would even notice.
Ja, langsam bin ich ausgeotet.
Also halt mit Wasser. Mit Milch wäre es nur halb so schlimm.
Ja. Ja, mir fehlt so ein bisschen so die Frühstücksdiversität.
Ja. Aber wenn wir im Herbst zurück sind, dann nehmen wir mal richtig geil. Oder wir machen uns ein richtig geiles Frühstück,
Ja,
wenn du
oder-
uns besuchen kommst oder so.
Ja, aber man kann sich es wahrscheinlich nicht leisten zu brunchen in Innsbruck.
Wir machen es
Das
zu
ist
Hause.
wie 3 Tage Ecuador.
Alter, ja.
And just as our enthusiasm for oats with water began to fade, so did our motivation to keep riding uphill. But another lesson we learned is that there is no medal for pushing through endless climbs, and it's okay to accept help from time to time. And I think I've mentioned before that next to bikepackers, we're becoming really good hitchhikers too. That night, we ended up in another indigenous community, where we were once again welcomed into their lives. They taught us how to make traditional corn tortillas and, subtly, tested if we were marriage material.
Du Single oder verheiratet bist.
Single.
Soltera.
Ya, esta sigue participi.
And all of a sudden, we were running out of time. Opportunities came along back home, and we had to face the reality. After roughly 180 days of traveling, our budget was getting tight. And to be quite honest, we were starting to miss having a steady home. Louisa booked her flight back home 2 weeks from now, and I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I didn't even know where I wanted to live or where I would get a job once I returned. Returned where? So, with my birthday coming up, I knew I wanted to end this trip with one more big challenge. Perfect timing that a special someone we had met before on this trip was just around the corner.
Giacomo, it's not breakfast yet.
It's always breakfast.
We had met Giacomo a few months earlier in Patagonia, and here in Ecuador, our paths crossed again. This time, we set out to tackle the Cotopaxi 360 loop, a demanding 3-day ride circling the iconic Cotopaxi volcano. After 6 months of bikepacking, I felt like challenging myself to see how far I've come. And it seemed like the perfect way to end an incredible journey with one final challenge and a memory we'd never forget. And of course, it's not a real adventure without a mechanical issue. But 2 mental breakdowns and a change of brake pads later, we turned off the main dirt road and entered what seemed like a different world.
Well, no risk, no fun, eh?
That's what they say. I mean,
Nice! Okay, Giacomo. Oh my god. Nice! Because it's really cold and really windy. Oh, you guys are amazing! Yay! This is Louise. Louise is a professional packer. She knows how to pack her panniers so well. She gets everything in her panniers. Even a birthday cake.
And a bottle of champagne.
And a bottle of champagne. And presents.
and for juices.
And,
And another small cake.
and another small cake.
And
And a French press.
No one noticed.
And as a ninja. Like life is too short to drink coffee when you have pretty good coffee.
Oh my god, this could be like an ad.
Races too close behind, so it starts. So moving time, like a pencil drawn line. The races too close behind.
We just finished a very steep section of hike a bike. In total it was 9 kilometers of just hike a biking through absolute crazy remote landscapes. And we're dying. We're at like 4,200, I think. And yeah, send it.
Papers pouring in wine, like the reddest of lights. It starts.
You stink so much. I stink so much.
Doesn't matter, we all stink. Just a casual bikepacking lunch. I mean, this is our last day. Yeah, we gotta. Oh my god. Wow. We're in Colombia, I guess.
So, have I become a bikepacker? On this journey, I have met so many people traveling on a bicycle, and I think what unites all of them, or us, is the passion for travel, for movement, for simplicity and adventure. I guess becoming a bikepacker is less about cycling in the end, but rather about embracing this raw form of experiencing the world, of having a certain willingness to suffer, being curious, slowing down, feeling more.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, somewhere along this journey, I started identifying as a bikepacker. And I know for sure that this won't be my last trip on a bicycle.
I began to choke. Everything I ever had went up in smoke. It's only me who still remains.
Hey, my name's Melanie, and I'm a professional wild camper.
Everyone, this is Louise. Louise is a professional bread sandwich maker. She is very good at making bread and putting stuff on bread. She even has fun doing it.
And cutting things.
Yeah.
It's really an expertise, but
Yeah.
to be
I do have fun at making other people's breads.
Yeah. Very much appreciated.
No ghost can haunt me, I ain't afraid. No memories to flicker and to fade. I don't even care which side of bed you choose. There's no impression where I have laid. I don't feel like going home, I ain't going home. I don't feel like going home. And if it's still okay, I love to stay. I don't feel like going home. I know I speak too much in metaphor. It's just a roof held up by four walls. It ain't no holy ground, no sacred temple. But forgive me if I get a little sentimental.